Hello folks, I am back with the firearms review, and this time it's on the Sauer MCX Rattler PCB. PCB meaning pivoting contoured brace. And I did a little bit of horse trading. Some of my firearms are not in the collection anymore, but this one is in there. And this particular firearm is in 300 blackout, and this is a caliber that I'm not really familiar with, that I'm trying to get into right now, and I'll explain that in a little bit. Uh, Let me get ready to show you that. And this is what, if you looked at my earlier video, this is from a 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum. I had fun shooting that last night, and you'll see that in the previous video. But right now, let's get back to this. I'm going to give you a couple specs on it. It is a gas-operated system. And that gas-operated system is adjustable. I did mention that it is a 300 blackout caliber. Overall length is going to be, oops, just shook the camera a little bit. Overall length is going to be 23 inches. So when this is closed and it's closed in its storage form or carry form, it is really a small item to carry as far as a backpack and so forth. So as you see, like I said, is in 23 inches in its full length. The overall width is 2.8 inches. The barrel length is 5.1 inches with a twist rate of 1:5. And if you notice, if you look very closely, it takes away from some other of their 6 Sauer's line of with the copperhead and some others, and especially with this particular brace here. I'll get back to the brace in a moment. I want to mention that. Also, you'll have this free float handguard, which enables you to do a lot of different things. It has ambidextrous safety, and I'm going to try to get that in view for you. Ambidextrous safety. It doesn't seem to bother you when shooting because that looks a little bit shorter on the one side as opposed to the other side, which you notice right there, it is a little bit longer. Okay, and it does have a ambidextrous QD points on both sides, right here and over in the rear over here. And as you see, it does the same thing on the other side, right in the front here and right in the back here. Bear with me, I'm using one hand. And it's a little bit weighty because it is about 5 pounds. Also, it does have a 3-prong flash hider on the front here. Getting back to when I was talking about the pivoting brace here. Now, this pivoting brace has been on the Copperhead, and it's been on their other MPX lines, but on the MCX line, I'm not a fan of it on the MCX version, because the MCXs are usually higher calibers. I believe they do have one in 5.56 and 3, and now the 300 blackout. I would like something a little more stable, especially if you're going to shoulder it or cheek it. And it's made to pivot, which I do understand why they do that. But I think for this particular caliber, I think they should have stayed with the original like PDW brace that people put on from other companies. I can't think of the company right now. I think it's something tactical. I drew a blank just now. But the other braces were very good, and it just the sliding PDW brace, you were able to have that rod that slid on both sides. But they need to really either change this to that particular style or folding brace with the bigger pad on here for better stability. And I think they did on the previous models, but this is the newest model that is out. One of the other features is a adjustable gas block, and that's the main thing about this. 300 blackout, like I said, I'm not familiar with the caliber so much, but it is a firearms caliber that is made to be suppressed, so you can use suppressors on this particular firearm. And because of that, you have an adjustable block. Now, I don't know if you can see that really good. I'm going to lay this down instead of trying to struggle with it, and I'm going to point it out. I don't know if you can see it really good with this lighting I have, but you'll see a plus sign right here. And on the tab here, that's the adjustment in there. That's for your plus. So what you do is you kind of like tilt it so it would be in the plus area. Also on here, you'll see the minus right here, and you see that arrow points down, so it shows you the orientation where that tab goes to make adjustments for your gas pressures on this particular firearm. Now, the reason for that is because 300 blackout comes in various different types of ammunition, which is really a good thing for especially special forces. And Sig Sauer has just won another contract regarding special forces. So this is what they were going for. They were marketing this to the U.S. Army Special Forces. So that's one of the reasons why they used one of these adjustments on there, so it can be versatile in the field. And like I was trying to mention earlier about 300 blackout, they do come in subsonic and supersonic. Now when you get this, it's automatically comes in set in its subsonic configuration, because that's where, if you have that tab there, is for subsonic ammunition. It is also in that setting, when in that particular setting, referring back to, let's say, the manual, it's also for unsuppressed settings. So when you go into the minus there, you can it goes to the suppressed side. So and also for supersonic, it's going to be on the minus side. So what you have to do is read your manual carefully to understand how the settings work with certain types of ammo and certain types of suppressors and so forth. Now, Mr. Guns and Gear does a very good video explaining 300 blackout. He does a whole tutorial on this. And if you want to also see a good video, Tim for the Military Arms channel does the same thing regarding the MCX Rattler. He does a really fine review on this. And one of the things that this is not a gas impingement, it's more what you call a piston-driven system. Well, the piston-driven system is basically when you it's kind of like it kind of reminds you of like in the AK-47, because that's a piston driven system, but it's supposed to eliminate gas pressures. But Tim from the Military Arms channel is going to knock that thought out of your head, because you're going to see all the gas spray into his face. So you can refer to them regarding whether you like a piston driven or a direct impingement system. But when you look at this, if you look at the rear, this does not have a buffer tube, as you saw me fold the stock here. And to me, that was kind of unique for a rifle caliber. The system, the recoil system, is similar to the MPX. Okay, after pausing the camera, I had to break this down for you real quickly. Now, if you notice here, I mentioned that the piston system, it's reminiscent of the MPX. because if you look real good, you have your two dual recoil systems, just like on your MPX, your copperheads, and so forth. So, and of course, there's your bolt carrier right here. Uh, I'm not going to take this apart fully, but I just want to show you a few things here. Uh, on this system here, everything is captured together. Now, they made this a little different from other systems that they had prior from the other generations of the MCX. They made this whole system here to be all one piece, and you don't want everything stays together instead of you breaking off. You're taking this part off to get to that part. This kind of like pivots back and forth from what I've seen from other breakdowns. So that's what how this system works now. It's easier, but in some ways it's a little bit cumbersome. And let me just try to flip it around. And there he is. That's your bolt carrier. And if you notice, the bolt carrier says multi-cal. I'll explain that in a couple seconds. But usually you have a firing pin retainer. And what they've done with this is now with the firing pin retainer, if I could just, what they do now, they make it kind of where you could push it out on the side, because those firing pin retainers are like, they look like almost like a bobby pin, and they stick they're together. They're very easy to lose. So with the newer version, they just push out, just like as you were on this breakdown, you can push out the pin similar to this and it will stay in place. Well, that's what it does in the case of your firing pin retainer. And it's a little bit, like I said, a little bit more cumbersome to break down, but eventually you'll get used to it. It does, the charging handle, I do like this because you have a truly ambidextrous charging handle. It's not like the previous models, or some even stock mil-spec AR-15s. The charging handle is only just, the action of it is only on one side. Also, a lot of people will probably put different triggers in these. I heard some people put Geisley triggers in here because it's actually set like an AR-15, but not totally. So just refer to your manual regarding that. And I've already seen people put really great triggers in this. Now that this back together, I just wanted to mention a few other things about this. Is one of the reasons why I chose this is because you have the ability of having multiple calibers. So one thing about SIG, what you can do is you could take this this part here, the hand guard rail here, off, and you'll have the ability to, after you take out a few pins, whatnot that's shown on the bottom here, you can change the caliber from 300 blackout to 5.56 and so forth. That's one of the unique features. You can even change the barrel lengths. Like I said, this was a 5.1 inch barrel, and you can actually change like I said, different barrel lengths and configure it different ways. And one of the things that I am planning to do is to have this suppressed. And that was the main goal of this, having this particular firearm. So I'm trying to get into the suppressor game, and hopefully everything will work out like I would like it to. And I know I could have done other things with other firearms and have that done right, but I'd rather have it with this whole system, like I said, to make other changes and to expand on this and to experiment with this. Other than that, you want to know, how does it shoot? Well, it shoots excellent. I've right here, this is my target from 7 yards. I was just trying to zero in the Romeo 5, so I shot low left, trying to center it. I kind of sort of got it centered to where I wanted at 7 yards. Then I pushed it out to 15 yards or so. I still wasn't a little bit happier with that. And then I started zeroing in like I wanted to. And this is how it came out with these shots here at 15 yards to 20 yards. And this is what I have here. I'm really pleased at the accuracy, especially at a 5.1 inch barrel, especially with the caliber. I had no hiccups, no problems whatsoever with no malfunctions or feeding or whatnot. I don't have the box of the ammo that I was using. I did use Sailor and Balat, which was, I believe that was a Subsonic. I believe that was Subsonic, and it was, let's say, well, I think it was a 125 grain, if I read it correctly. And the same with another brand. I cannot think of that other brand. I had two boxes of Sailor a lot and another brand, and they were both at, let's say, 125 grain. Hopefully I got the grains right, because I know the grains can get heavier as well. Other than that, I really, really like this firearm. I'm waiting to really expand on this firearm, because I really want to get into the suppressor game, and we'll see how that comes along. And I just got some information, and we'll see how that goes. Basically, that's all I have to say about this. This is a really great firearm to use and to shoot, especially when you have this folded and it can be compact. I do have videos of me shooting this. You can look at those. I'm going to link those into this video, and I hope you like what you see. Other than that, happy shooting, stay safe, #2A. Take care, folks.